Hello, my internet fans. It's me, Statboy Mike, and I would like to welcome you to this week's installment of Throwback Thursday. The Casa D18 Studios Channel continues to sort through the archives of the Jeff Meacham Network, the Simple Man brand, JH95 FTW, NoDQ.com, and the Casa Channel in order to bring you classic content that you may not have seen in a long time, if ever. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's Throwback Thursdays offering. I love you all. Statboy out.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from NoDQ.com.
Welcome, NoDQ Galaxy, to the NoDQ Review. And I am Virtue, and I am joined by the NoDQ Review crew And I'm going to start with Aaron Rift, the man in charge. We got a lot to talk about today, Aaron. I know you've kind of already been busy.
Very busy.
How's it going?
I'm doing very well, but like you said, it's been a very busy, hectic week here on NoDQ.com. A lot to talk about. We had Raw 25, we have the Royal Rumble coming up, and we have the whole Enzo Amore story, which I'm sure we'll be discussing today. I'm very much looking forward to this video.
Yes, me too. Jaxie, how's it going?
Good. Fighting a bit of a cold, but I can't complain. All's well. Good to go.
Yep, me too. Actually, I have a sinus infection, but I will not let that slow me down. Big Vito, how's it going, man?
Everything is going good. I posted in the No DQ chat room, you know, trolls, roll call. We have the area codes from the 6-9. All the moms are in check. They're over there. They actually ran out tonight to be in charge. Yeah, that's right, from the 6-9 area code.
Why are you pointing at me now?
Get out of here. Come on. I'm busy. I'm working. So everybody's doing good. A lot to talk about, guys. The No DQ chat room is blowing up. It's great time in there. I love you guys. Keep up the good work. Keep trying to troll. Remember, I'm going for 3 months in a row. Jackson, you know how we roll there now because you got a little glimpse here. You know, Aaron Riff, I noticed you had a little tiff this week, you know, with the Jabba stuff. And, of course, my man here, you know, running shit, you know, because he's trying to be cool Mo D, you know, and, you know, play the role. You know what I'm saying? Let's get the show underway. Go ahead, leader.
Wow, Raw 25. You know, so much hype was built around this show. Everybody's expectations was through the glass ceiling. They had Manhattan Center crowd and they had Barclays Center crowd, like the big arena. And I'm going to tell you what, it disappointed. And it just felt like your standard average C, middle of the road Raw where they just had appearances from some legends. So I want to bring up the first thing, the elephant in the room, the Manhattan Center. These people were pissed. Now, if you spent $1,000 on an aftermarket ticket, that is your fault. But if you spent $400 or $500 face value and thinking you were going to get some good Monday Night Raw action, I don't think they got good Monday Night Raw action there. So, Aaron, why do you think the Manhattan Center disappointed? My personal opinion, they should have done the entire Raw there. And I know it was only going to be 500 or 1,000 people, but that's where Raw started. They should have just the whole show there. Did they do some ECW one night stand there?
They did it at the Hammerstein Ballroom. This is the actual Manhattan Center where they did the very first Monday Night Raw. Now, it's funny you mentioned this because I was talking to the WWE superfan Frank the Clown on Facebook. We were actually corresponding, and he was telling me about his experience. He was in the front row at that Raw, and from his perspective, they wanted to see more of an actual show. They were expecting more action, more segments. What they were not expecting was 20% of the show to be in the Manhattan Center, and then the rest of the 80% to be watching Raw on a screen. They were not expecting that. They were expecting more like 50-50. I was expecting maybe it to be like 33%, like a third, but it was actually like 20% of the show. Somebody actually did the math on this. It was about 20% of the Manhattan Center show, and then 80% was at the Barclays Center. So I think if it was me, I think maybe WWE should have done the first hour of Raw at the Manhattan Center, just like the old time, since Raw started at the Manhattan Center. Maybe do the first hour at the Manhattan Center and then have the last 2 hours just do dark matches for the Manhattan Center fans. And with the Barclays Center, the first hour, you have that be dark matches and then have the 2 hours as the last 2 hours of Raw. And then what you could do with those other dark hours, maybe make a DVD, maybe put out a DVD with all 6 hours and make money off of that. So that's what I would have done personally. I think they didn't plan this out very well. Jexy, your thoughts on this?
I think you said it well. That's what they should have done. However, if I was in that situation, I would not have expected it to be equal. Right. You know, especially knowing that they're doing it in 2 different arenas. It would have been better to just do it all in the Manhattan Center, a little bit more personal space. Me personally, if I was there, I would have loved it. I would have been having the time of my life, you know, just because I grew up in the Attitude Era. So to see all of those people, especially DX, that's my shit, you know. So to see those guys, I would have been on top of the cloud nine.
Yeah, well,
Would've been cool.
keep in mind, Frank the Clown goes to like every single WWE show. He's like, we've already seen DX reunite like 10 times already, but I'm like, hey, you know what? Not everybody gets to see DX reunite like that.
Like, there's nothing like being there live and hearing that music hit. Like, you can't replicate that no matter what. Feeling that energy, feeling that vibe, like.
Absolutely.
And Jexy, they could have did so much more in the Manhattan Center. You know, we didn't even see Sergeant Slaughter. They should have had him come out and be like the commissioner of the Manhattan Center. You know,
well, that
and then have
interesting.
DX come out, and they had a lame Undertaker promo. Woken Matt versus Bray went about 3 minutes. They had 205 dark matches. Vito, yes, like Vito. What? I think they dropped the ball on something at the Manhattan Center, and I will say what it is. But what's your thoughts on that portion of Raw 25?
I thought it was very poorly done. For somebody who wrestled in the Manhattan Center during the original Raws, I was disappointed. Where was Tatanka? Where was Skinner? You had Harvey Whippleman there.
Damien Demento?
Right. Where was Damien Demento?
I would have liked that. I wanted to see Damien Demento come out and get a tombstone from The Undertaker again. Just recreate that whole thing.
But my buddy, who's partners with Damien Demento had his gear ready. Damien Demento got in shape for this. He was ready to go. They did not call him.
That sucks.
Now, the ideal thing for them to do during this thing was to have all the guys who wrestled at the Manhattan Center go back and do matches from the Manhattan Center and relive the glory days. Have your Raw with the present roster, and then you have regular matches. So if you got a Tatanka match, a Coco Beware. Where was Coco Beware? I wrestled Coco with Mike Sharp and Owen Hare, right? You have Sergeant Slaughter, like you mentioned. Why couldn't the Iron Sheik come out? You could have had the Ho Train could have wrestled and did a spot there. There were so many things they could have did, but they didn't do. Put the guys who built that building, make them put on matches. You don't need to go 15 minutes. Everybody knows they're not going to go. But if you have them put on a couple little matches, and then if you're flipping back and forth to an action at the Manhattan Center and action from the Barclays, that would have been a great show. To have everybody do a card game is lame, trying to get everybody on. But if you're going back and forth, here's the action. Having Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler sleeping during that was horrible, showing they didn't care. Instead of making them do commentary during matches and keeping everybody alive, and then having to, at the end, The Miz wound up showing up there from what I'm told. A couple other guys wound up showing up there. What's to say Ric Flair wrestled in that place? Why couldn't Ric Flair have made an appearance there?
He actually did do it off air in a dark segment. Ric Flair did it.
Yeah, but off air. But it would have been cool to see him there on air.
Absolutely. And if not that, then like what I said, maybe film some extra stuff and put it on DVD. Maybe they did record it for DVD. Who knows?
And can I tell you guys one thing?
Sure.
To hear that crowd the way it was, that wasn't the way it was back when I was wrestling down there, guys.
It felt a little subdued. I mean, it definitely felt like they were not at the potential of what they could have been in terms of the loudness.
When I wrestled there, I had my first wife was there. Place was loud. And she used to sit front row. Everybody used to come out from Elizabeth to Macho to Bobby Heenan, Mr. Perfect. And I was wrestling Tatanka, and all I could hear was I was getting a suplex, and all I heard was her voice go, "Hold on!" from the front row, right? But the place was electric. The place was live. The place was beaming. And when you have that kind of place and you hear everything going on, to hear that, the best chant of the night in there was, "This is bullshit."
Yeah.
Yep.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
Bad, erroneous, a sub-zero Celsius for that show.
Yeah.
Terrible book.
The highlight for me, actually, I think, Jexy, you'll agree with me on this, was the fact that Triple H actually acknowledged not just Rick Rude, but China as well. I thought that was really cool. Something he didn't have to do, and he did reference them.
Do you really think that wasn't done on purpose to make himself look like, okay,
well,
we'll mention China? Are you serious?
Well, at least he did it. I mean, it's better than nothing. He didn't have to do it.
It's better than nothing, but now that China's mentioned, how much you want to bet she's going to go in the Hall of Fame after the fact? So it really
she probably will. I mean, she should have gone in when she was alive, but that's a whole other topic.
I mean, Pete Dunne doesn't have a T-shirt on today, but China does.
Well, Pete Dunne might have one on tomorrow.
So they give the Balor Club this spot with DX, and it ends up being lame. Let's throw it too sweet. Let's have the Revival come out, and let's have a 2-minute match. Like, to me, the Balor Club, that could have been a moment, and I don't know if they would have turned heel or not. That could have been a great moment for them to become the obnoxious heels like DX used to be.
Beat up DX?
You could have had, there could have been, you could have had the Balor Club versus the New Age Outlaws and X-Pac, and they could have went over. It could have been a nice spot, but oh no, they can't do that. They can't take away the glory and the history of DX and push pass the torch. So I thought that was absolutely horrible. What's your thoughts on Matt Hardy losing to Bray in a short match? Did that just make that whole angle lose steam?
You guys missed one point on that whole thing. Now, everybody thought Shawn Michaels was small, and everybody thought X-Pac was small, and everybody thought, these guys were the tiny guys. How much of a twink did Finn Balor look like?
Yep.
There we go.
He looked like a fifth grader. Right. Smiling in his class picture.
Men and boys. You heard me say this many times. Men bodies, boy bodies. Men look, boy look.
And Vito, you could protect Balor by turning him heel, making him obnoxious, and making him hide behind the big, Gallows and Anderson, who look legit.
And even the Revival Club, they look tiny. And they used to say, Shawn Michaels is small. Now you know the difference. Right? Now, here I was wrestling with Goldberg and Nash and all these guys, and back in the day, I was pretty beefy, but I didn't look small. I looked like a wrestler. I had a wrestler's body. When you look at these guys today, you're like, are you serious? That's why it's not believable, folks.
Balor's
and when they
abs.
say, yeah, but it's great that he's got abs. If he's going to do go work for a burlesque or a strip club, yeah, it's great. But if he's going to be a wrestler, how do you really expect that comparison for Brock Lesnar and Finn Balor? Come on.
All right, Vito. So let's go from the boys to the men. We're going to go back to the bar. We're going to go back to the Barclays Center, and there was something that I really, really enjoyed, and that was Elias had his little backstage segment with Chris Jericho. I know a lot of fans were upset. That's all Jericho did. Look, we all know Jericho's wrapped up in New Japan Wrestling, probably going to face Naito this year. He doesn't need to come back and get in a feud on Raw. He was just there for an appearance. He gave, a little rub to Elias. I thought that was it. Elias comes out to the ring. He gets to do his promo. And then here comes John Cena. And I was like, oh my gosh, Raw 25, they're going to have Cena look good again over at the expense of Elias. And then I had to do a double take when I saw Elias slip off of Cena's back and give him the nut shot. And Vito, I saw it. The guitar and the poof. So I thought that was really, really well done. I don't know if it's going to lead anywhere for Elias, but Jexy,
I don't know.
What's your thoughts, though? At least for that night, Elias looked strong.
Yeah.
It was great. That was beautiful. Real quick, to touch back on what you were asking about Matt, they had actually released history where I think it was 23 years ago in the Manhattan Center, Matt actually lost to Bray's dad.
IRS?
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting trivia.
We don't know Bray Wyatt's IRS's son in the storyline. That's my problem.
But that's a little inside trivia there.
It's Vince McMahon laughing is what it is.
Yep. But Elias was fantastic. I loved it. So hopefully that will be the beginning of a lot of really good things to come for him.
Aaron, thoughts on that segment?
He's just taking Cena or Samoa Joe's spot as the punching bag for John Cena. That's what I think.
So.
Yeah.
But but why was he? booked strong on Raw 25 of all Raws, you know. Why did they
I'm
wait
glad.
for that? With
I
the most
enjoyed it.
eyeballs. The most they knew that was going to have
That
the
was
highest
one
rating.
of the few things they did right. I mean, the whole goal of this show should have been to get people hooked on watching in the future. They had 4.5 million people tune into Raw this week, which is their highest numbers since the night after WrestleMania 31, and that was one of the few highlights of the show. Like I said on my video, I think this show was very polarizing. It was a mixed bag for me. It had some good moments, some bad. I think that was one of the highlights. What do you think, Vito?
I think that Elias getting the rub from Cena. Now, guys, you got to remember something. Cena's not full time. He's part time.
Yeah.
So when he comes in, he's got to help the product. Remember his saying, got to help the product. I'm not going to be like The Rock and Austin and all these part timers. I am WWE all the way through. I'm going to be here to push the product. That's what he's doing. He's pushing the product. So he gave Elias the rub. Now the poof and the guitar, beautiful. Somebody listen to the show. Thank you. But guys, that's his job now. He's got to put over the young talent for them to grow in this industry and for them to put over guys. If they don't do it and you have nobody to play with, then the industry dies. That'd be like me coming to a wrestling show and I'm coming in for 3 shots, right? First time I'm coming in, I'm going to kick somebody's ass. Second time, it's going to go toe-to-toe. It's going to be a pull-apart. The third time, I'm going to put you over, but there's going to be a build-up. So Elias got him this time. Let's see what happens. If Cena's going to make a return, maybe it'll go to a pull-apart and then go to a pay-per-view. And if it goes to a pay-per-view, okay, Cena's win. But you elevated Elias once again. Now we'll see where he's going to go with it.
I have one for you. We're going to go to the opening segment with Shane, Vince, Stephanie. Was Stephanie out there? See, she's so forgettable. She's so forgettable.
Well, she's doing commentary for the Royal Rumble now, so you better remember her now.
Gosh, that's going to be horrible. But then Stone Cold came out. Now, I want to ask each one of you, who takes the better stunner, Shane or Vince? Now, I know right now you're thinking, well, this is an easy answer, but it's not. Jexy, I want to start with you. I have a bone to pick with Rusev because I saw Rusev throwing some shade at one of the two McMahons. Who takes the better stunner, Shane or Vince?
Vince.
Because?
He's so overdramatic with it. He's like, I don't know, just the way he flops back, he lands on his back, he shakes, he does this whole little, like, makes it so totally believable. Excuse me.
Aaron, I wanted to get everybody's quick picks on this, and then I was going to explain why I brought this up.
Didn't Vince fall the wrong way the first stunner in '97?
But so now that you mentioned that, and then I'll ask you, Vito. I think Vince McMahon takes the best stunner I've ever seen because we know he's not a worker, he's the boss. If a blue collar guy is going to go into the office and stun his boss, how would you naturally react? You fall down, your chin hits the shoulder, and you just fall. You don't do a flat back bump like a wrestler would. I think Vince McMahon's stunner take is legendary. And a lot of people like Rusev thinks, you take a bad stunner. But look at Shane, look at The Rock. That's over dramatic. The fountain of beer, Vito. Am I crazy? You've probably taken that move. Am I crazy for thinking Vince McMahon takes a better stunner than Shane and a lot of people?
The best stunner I have ever seen somebody take, you're never going to guess, is Razor Ramon.
Yes, at WrestleMania 18. That was actually a really good one.
And when he can, and the trick to doing it, guys, I know everybody has their own theory and whatever.
Yeah.
But if you're taking it and you're coming down and the spring you give off the bump, right? Now, if you could land on your back and flip over, that's the way to take it. When I seen Razor Ramon do that, I said, I'm doing it just like that, like him. And every time I took it, I figured used to do it just like that. Even X-Pac, if everybody remembers X-Pac, when X-Pac took it, that's the way you take it. Vince doing it the way he is, okay, it's believable, but there's a different esque to people taking bumps. Maybe Shane isn't good at taking a good stunner, but he's good at taking a good fall and doing other bumps. You know, Vince has been doing this a long time, so he knows the realism. Vince is a realist when he takes it. Yeah. Razor Ramon and X-Pac were good workers. When I seen Razor Ramon take it, and he jumped out of the building in the ring, And if anybody goes back and watches that, you'd be like, wow, that was pretty good. And there have been some other guys who've taken some good stunners also. But the most memorable, Razor Ramon. Yes, Vince took a good stunner. No doubt about it.
He stays true to form. He's the boss. He's not a worker. And I think that's how a normal person off the street would fall down to a move like that. So kudos to Vince McMahon. And also, I like when he used to do commentary. I'm upset that he didn't jump on the commentary booth a little bit. But it is what it is. And now I want to talk about Roman Reigns and The Miz. I thought this was a well-booked match because, Aaron, you talked about it. You really did think that The Miz was going to win the title back. And, we hear we got to protect Roman. He can't lose clean. But look, isn't that what The Miz is? He has two guys that are always with him, The Miztourage. He's going to find a dirty way to win a match. Yeah. And I think that helped him for his character more than it was protecting Roman. So, Jexy, what's your thoughts? I really thought that was the best part of the show was Roman Reigns and The Miz's match. I want to see more stuff like that. I didn't even see The Miz remove the turnbuckle because I was so focused on Axel and Bo Dallas. And then when they showed it, I was like, wow, I like to be fooled. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, no, totally agree. I didn't see it either. I had suspected that Miz would win. And one thing that for me is always a signal is when Michael Cole gives some super random out there fact before the match starts. He did it for AJ Styles, and he did it again for them. He said the belt wouldn't have changed hands, would be like the 52nd time. Totally random. That, for me, I've seen consistently, we see title changes. The match itself was very well done. I liked how they did the ending again with the turnbuckle. It just put Miz over even more. And hopefully they kind of keep going with it. I like to see those two lock up, and they have pretty good chemistry together. So I think it's pretty cool.
And I did enjoy the Miz staring Daniel Bryan down. I thought that was great. Now, Aaron, what's your thoughts on this? We all know the Miz went to the Manhattan Center afterwards.
Yes.
Why did they not put a promo on TV of him going over there and celebrating? That crowd would have... Because did they think that they would have cheered him and he's supposed to be a heel?
Maybe. That's a great question, though. I think they definitely should have shown that on television. They didn't do that. They didn't have somebody on the Barclays Center portion and then show up at Manhattan Center or vice versa. They didn't do that. I thought for sure we were going to see at least one person on TV appear at both venues, but we didn't get it. So, yeah, that's just another creative way they dropped the ball, in my opinion.
And I think that should have been the Miz's spot that got that. Vito, what's your thoughts on that match and the Miz going back to the Manhattan Center and really just celebrating in the dark?
I thought it was a very good match. I thought it was a great ending. I thought Roman Reigns was going to lose as punishment for the steroid scandal in Miami, because everybody knows Roman Reigns is supposed to go to WrestleMania. So I know they had to do something, and I kind of figured, I said, he's going to lose the title tonight. What they should have did at the Manhattan Center, the honky-tonk man standing in the middle of the ring, greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, in walks The Miz, just fresh off his victory. The place would have went ballistic.
Yep.
Yeah, there's so many creative things they could have done.
Or Jericho. That could have been Jericho's spot since he's the 9-time Intercontinental Champion and The Miz is now 8. That could have set up a future match for them down the road.
But you're talking nostalgia building, like you said before.
Oh, I like the honky-tonk idea.
The honky-tonk, the greatest Intercontinental Champion. Where was he on this day? He should have been there. Greg Valentine should have been there. There are a lot of guys who should have been there. But if you really wanted to put things over, you mean the greatest of all time with the greatest now of all time. Nose to nose.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
And I think that WWE just needs to watch this show more often because we're giving them free ideas, right, Vito?
I think so, because if they ever sat back, and I say this on Getting Color with Vince Russo, if they ever sat on the other side of the TV and watched the show back, they would see what they're missing, and they don't get it because they're not watching it as fans and analysts. But if they're doing it from behind, yeah, this is great, that's not working, this is great, and they're working under pressure. But if you take the time to sit back and watch the show, they're going to say these words. This is the shits.
Yeah, and watch the ratings. My guess is, next week the numbers will probably be decent because of post-Royal Rumble, but I bet you the next week they're back down to 3 million viewers again.
Well, Raw 25 was blah, in my opinion. I gave it a C+. Let's jump over to SmackDown for a little bit. I do not understand why they have Nakamura speak at this point. I thought the guy could speak English. It's broken English. It's 4 words, and it comes across bad. Are they trying to bury him? Now, we got Corbin finally back after a few weeks off of TV, and Nakamura versus Corbin. Orton out of nowhere with the RKOs. And did you hear the pop that he got? Let's go back 3 years ago. And me and some other people from other websites, we've talked about this. When the RKO memes and videos were red hot on the internet, they should have made that Randy Orton's gimmick, where every show he was going to RKO 3 or 4 people, and you didn't know where it was coming from, when he was going to do it, because look at the reaction it gets. Yeah. Boring Randy Orton can have charisma when it's done right. So I want to ask your thoughts. Aaron, I'll start with you. Did you see a little bit of spark? I know we talked about Orton a little bit before, and I said they need to do something with him. Did you see a little bit of spark in Randy Orton, or is it just one time only? Rusev Day and it's over.
I have no idea what the follow-up for this will be, but I like that match. I like the whole segment. I thought Nakamura and Corbin had a good match, and I like Orton's RKO out of nowhere. I thought it was a well-shot segment. The camera angle, everything was perfect. I thought it was very well done.
Yep, and it was out of nowhere, but it's just probably Royal Rumble hype. Jaxie?
Yeah. As far as Nakamura talking, I like it. It reminds me a little bit of Kai and Tai with the whole Indeed.
But is that a good thing?
I like it.
Because Kai and Tai's like a lower card act, and Nakamura is supposed to be this
I would rather hear like an Asuka just speak straight Japanese and you don't know what she's saying. I would rather hear that than them trying to say the broken English.
Yeah, that's true too.
Put subtitles on the screen. That would be great.
Well, maybe not the subtitles,
Russo would have.
Will they have it for Pete Dunne? Pete Dunne needs subtitles.
that is absolutely creative, though. I'm just saying. Okay, go ahead, Jackson.
Oh, man.
Wow.
No, I think it's funny. I think it gives a little bit more depth to him. I don't care that it's broken. I like it. But the RKO, it really was out of nowhere. I kind of looked over at my mom, like, where the hell did he come from? For real, I hope they keep doing that. And yes, they should have capitalized on it way back when. But the fact if they do go forward with that now, I'm all for it.
Vito, what's your thoughts? And why haven't we seen Corbin for a while?
Corbin probably because he got a little stale. They had to give him a little break from TV just to give him a little break. Nakamura speaking in these, that's just old Bruce Lee type, with the mouth movement. I am going to kill and get your family and get them out of the village. Okay, that's what it is, basically. All right. But as far as Randy Orton goes, if anybody hasn't noticed, they're trying to change Randy Orton's look with the hair, with him all of a sudden, his body's back in shape, and he's gearing up for a title run for WrestleMania or the Rumble. So having him recreate the RKOs out of nowhere, they're reinventing him. The only way to change Randy Orton, he's heel, he's babyface, he's heel, he's wearing a sweat jacket, he's not wearing a sweat jacket, is to change his hair because it gives him a different look, makes him that young boy look instead of that hard, grizzled veteran look. So it's good for him. Nakamura speaking, they're doing it as a ha-ha for the fans, as entertainment. Corbin coming back. Hey, he was on for a long time. He was going strong. They needed to refresh him. There's really not much you could do with Corbin at this point. And it's the same thing like Jinder Mahal, not having the Stooge brothers there. What do you do with Jinder now? I mean, now where do you put him in all this stuff? Would you put him back with Orton? Do you put him against AJ Styles? Do you put him in the mid-card somewhere? He's a lost soul, just like Corbin is a lost soul. And you'd hate to see both those guys go head-to-head because that would be horrible.
Well, Jinder, Aiden English, and Rusev, they all got the loss in pretty short match. So I think we know where they all stand.
Yeah.
Listen,
Cammy.
they're not joining the no DQ panel.
No. But no.
We don't have enough screens. I ain't giving up my headsets. All right. And Aaron is there with his pipe bomb shirt. Jesse there was China. We're definitely not getting rid of you with your Big Vito shirt. And I ain't going nowhere with my freaking company shirt.
Yep.
Took me 7 months to get this.
Absolutely.
So, we can sit here and talk about writing and creative. What are they doing with AJ Styles and letting him continue to say this Cammy stuff? I think it's horrible. AJ's so much better than this. Jexy, I'm going to start with you. Did anything interest you on SmackDown with the whole Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, I will not call him that other name, and the whole and AJ lost again. The champion lost again. What's your thoughts?
With as big of an AJ Styles fan supporter as I am, I've been so let down the last couple of weeks. I think that match was completely unnecessary. I think the promos have been very stale and borderline awful. It's done nothing to enhance anything. Truthfully, I mean, like, what was the point? If Kevin Owens is really hurt, which is most likely why they did that with his knee.
Right.
Why even have him go out there? Let him rest.
Yeah. Well, I guess they had to do something on the go home show, just to have something to set up the pay-per-view, I guess.
Yeah, or at least play it off that, Owens tapped out quick and then he faked the injury just to be a distraction. I mean, that's what they tried to do, but it did not come across that way.
It dragged out really long, I thought.
Yeah, and AJ was doing heel moves, kicking an injured Kevin Owens. Vito, what's your thoughts on that? Did you watch that?
I watched it. I got to tell you guys, the best thing they could have did was throw some intrigue into this and have Sami Zayn find Kevin Owens laying there beat up under a scaffold with some pipes on him and say, who the hell did this? Now you got Shane McMahon. You could have Daniel Bryan. You could have AJ Styles. Now you got 3 suspects. Or you could have somebody in the wings waiting to feud with Kevin Owens. Now that took him out of the picture, then you just go in with a one-on-one match. I think the champion losing every week is horrible. Champion is supposed to. They don't do that with Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar is putting over the guys to hype the pay-per-view, but you already know it's hype to make the guys look strong. Come the pay-per-view, Brock Lesnar's going to go over. This champion losing every week on the TV is embarrassing. And what kind of champion are you if you can't beat these average Joes who don't even look like wrestlers?
Yeah, I heard Russo's comments about Sami Zayn not standing out in a crowd. So, yeah, I was a little surprised by that. I was surprised that Sami Zayn pinned AJ Styles on this show. I definitely was not expecting that. I figured it would be the opposite, if anything, where it would be Sami Zayn getting pinned and then Kevin Owens would somehow cheat to beat AJ Styles to set up the pay-per-view. So I was a little surprised.
But you can't have the challengers lose before the pay-per-view because then it gives no intrigue. Well, I beat him the week before. No way he's going to win again. Right. So you have to give them hope.
Yeah.
That's why I said if you leave him laying and you don't beat the champion is beat up. Say if Daniel Bryan came running down and said, get him, Sammy, get him. Look what he did to Kevin Owens. Then you have Shane running down, takes the heat off of AJ Styles getting beat up because Daniel Bryan just turned heel.
Yeah.
So now you have something else. Now you just got 3 or 4 ideas just from sitting here in the panel, right? So this way you can throw some intrigue. And that's what the show is missing. That intrigue, that suspense, that, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. I got to sit here for 2 hours to watch this great stuff.
Some sort of cliffhanger, something to keep people tuning in next week to see what's going to happen, what's the answer to this question. There's really none of that. They just do matches now. They don't have any stories.
Cut and dry, my friend.
Yeah.
And speaking of matches, Royal Rumble. I mean, I think we got Aaron, you were on the preview video, so you do have your picks. But Vito, Jexy, and I need to do our quick picks. So let's run through Royal Rumble here. The first match I want to talk about, SmackDown Tag Team Championship. So the Usos are defending against Gable and Benjamin. So Jexy, just quick thoughts, quick pick, quick thoughts.
I think Gable and Benjamin will win for that. I'm excited about that match, though. They've been doing pretty exciting, actually, recently.
Now, do you think the Usos are losing because Jay had a DWI, or do you just think that it's time? Maybe put the belts on Gable and Benjamin.
Yep.
Vito,
I think it's just time.
you think differently?
Vito, go ahead.
I think that it is going to be, like I said, you do something wrong, you got to pay the price. Now, they've been pushing this Gable kid, making him be a monster the last few weeks. A monster, right? And they have lost to the Usos how many times? It's definitely time for a change. And with the DWI, if there's no tolerance rules, we're going to take your title, give you a on the hand, and we're going to set you, okay, you guys be good boys, and we'll bring you back, and we'll make you champs again. When you represent the company as champions, there is nothing you need to do wrong except go home. You want to drink, guys? This is what I used to tell the guys on the road. You drinking tonight? Give me a hotel key. What do you need my hotel? Okay, I will get you up in the morning, go in your room, go have a brouhaha, go drink all you want. I'll get you up. I'll make sure you're on the bus. I'll make sure you get to your plane, whatever. All right, Vito. And that's what I used to do for the guys because I used to be up. I wasn't a drinker. I wasn't a partier. But if I knew the guys were going in, guys, go in your room, go drink your drink. I'll open the door. I'll wake you up and get on your plane. When you go out and drink and drive and you're a superstar, pro athlete, you put yourself at risk. You make for definite social media. You're definitely a role model that just got slammed, and you're a champion. Now, if the DWI doesn't get fired, why is somebody else getting fired? Why did somebody else not get suspended? Can't be a double standard. It's got to be one cut, one thing, one way. So I think the Usos partially lose the title because of the DUI. And because it's time for a little change. I don't think they're the better tag team. I think the Usos should win. I hope it's the opening match to set the tone for the night.
Yeah. And Vito, I saw what you did right there. This is something WWE does not do. You had a hook. You had a hook of what we're going to talk about in the main event tonight. Aaron, who did you pick? Because at this point, I did not see your.
I believe I picked. I think I picked Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin to win. You know, because like Vito said, I think there needs to be a change. I think Gable and Benjamin could really benefit from winning the titles, and Usos could always win it back at the next pay-per-view, or even they could build it for WrestleMania, perhaps. So I think I went with them. I'm not even that sure though what I went with actually.
And I agree. I'm going with Gable and Benjamin. The Raw Tag Team Championship. So Rollins and Jordan are defending against the Bar. Aaron, who did you pick on that? I'll start with you because yours can be quick since you already.
Yeah, I believe I picked Rollins and Jordan to retain because I think that they should let this play out a little bit longer and maybe do something at the next pay-per-view to finally have them split. You know, they teased the dissension on Raw, which, you know, I don't think WWE is going to telegraph what's going to happen. Oh, these guys are going to lose the titles now at the Rumble. I think they're going to somehow win, but they'll continue to be dissension, and then at the next pay-per-view they'll have the falling out. That's how I see it, at least.
Okay. Vito, who's winning the Raw Tag Team title match?
Sheamus and Cesaro. I think the dissension's already set. These guys have been waiting for something to pop. They already gave them a good basis for it. It's been going back and forth, especially when they did the Shield thing, and now they did the tag team thing, and Jason Jordan putting them in matches. I think it's going to blow up, and I think Rollins is going to be the one to turn.
Interesting. Jax, I like that actually. Jaxie.
Yeah, with as quick as they've been burning out storylines, I think that Cesaro and Sheamus will win, and that we'll probably see Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins get into it during the match, where maybe Jason Jordan causes them to lose because he does something stupid, and then it breaks them up, splits it off from there.
I'm going to agree. The bar, they're going to win the tag titles back. I really like them as a tag team. I think if they're together long enough and give them the titles back, let them have a long run, they are a great team. They're not going to get singles push. At this point, Sheamus has already passed his expiration date. I mean, you saw what he did against Roman Reigns a couple years ago. Nobody likes Sheamus as a singles competitor. Cesaro just doesn't grab the brass ring, but together, I think they're a great team. Put the belts back on them. Sorry, belts. Did I just say belts, Vito? The titles, the championship.
You're fired.
back on them, and just people, I think they're charismatic together. They need each other, so the bar. All right, so we have 2 big title matches, and the first one will go Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, in a 2-on-1 handicap match. Aaron, what's the exact rules? Do they have to tag in and out? Do we not?
I have no idea.
God.
I don't even know.
But it's 2 against 1 against AJ for the title.
Yeah.
So I'll start with you again.
I think they would have to tag out, but I mean, it's not a no DQ match, so I would think that they would have to tag out. But I went with AJ to retain. I mean, I think it would be silly. Although, when I was talking with Jeff and Greg and you weren't on. No, it was Kyle. It was Interstate Kyle. We were talking earlier, and I think it was Greg. One of them brought up the idea that they've never done an angle in WWE where there's a joint champion. They did do it with Chyna and Jericho, but that was the IC title. They've never done it with the WWE title before. For me personally, I think it would water down the title greatly, and I think Vince Russo might lose his mind if Sami Zayn was a co-WWE World Champion. But yeah, I think AJ will retain in the end. After losing all these matches, as we were talking about earlier, I think AJ will retain.
Jexy.
I think AJ will retain. It would be very interesting to see them split it, because has it ever been definitively explained how that would work? If if KO had to fight somebody and he lost, and it was a title match, is that person now co with Sammy? Like, at what point? Like, it just, I don't know. It would be interesting, but I think, like Aaron said, it would water it down. But I hope AJ wins. I really hope they don't go that way and just let AJ win.
Well, Owens and Zayn got kicked off of a European tour. And here they are at the Royal Rumble in a WWE Championship match. Vito, you got to be stewing with this. I mean, I know you don't always agree with Vince, but you got to, I mean, seriously, why is this match even happening?
Because they got nothing else in creative, but I'm going to give you a twist here. I'm going to say the twist is Daniel Bryan is going to be the reason AJ Styles wins. He's going to screw over Zayn and Owens.
Could happen.
That's interesting.
But that's the most logical one, because he's been siding with these guys and going against Shane.
Right.
But then when you look at it, he's still the Office, and he could be playing these guys. And then the thing would be for Shane to come out, shake Daniel Bryan's hand, both of them raise AJ Styles' hands in the ring to endorse him as champion. Now they just elevated the title.
I like it. I think it's a good idea.
I do. And, you guys are all right. And gal, AJ Styles is going to retain. I still think he's going to WrestleMania with that title. Of course, we know he won't go on last. But with that said, speaking of going on last, I truly think this match will end the pay-per-view. They'll have the 2 Rumble matches before this, but I could be wrong. So we got the Universal Championship match. We have Kane challenging Brock Lesnar and Strowman challenging Brock Lesnar in a triple threat. Aaron, who did you pick on this one?
I picked Brock, but I would like to see, if it was my call, I'd have Braun Strowman win the title and strap the rocket to that guy.
I like that. Jexy?
Yep, Braun Strowman, all the way. They've been building him up way too much, and Lesnar's been too much of a part-timer. If they go through and not let him win at the Rumble, I think that'd be a huge mistake.
So you pick Strowman, and Aaron would like to see Strowman win, but technically picks Lesnar.
Yes.
Vito.
Guys, tissues are on the left to your computers there, all right? It's going to be Brock Lesnar going strong over. They've been putting over Strowman too strong, guys.
Yeah.
And when you put somebody over too strong, you're trying to build their character. And it'll be a one-on-one match. Like I said, it'll be Lesnar going over Kane.
Yeah.
Braun being outside.
Yep.
Lesnar's going to raise the belt. Braun's going to come in and clean his clock. Feud is still alive. Then it's going to go one-on-one to the next pay-per-view, so you get another 4 weeks out of it. They still have to hold on to Lesnar to go to WrestleMania, because that's their ticket, that's their draw. And nothing is etched in stone that Roman Reigns is going to be the opponent. They talk about The Rock. You talk about possible Cena, which I don't see. But I would like to see The Rock go against Lesnar because we haven't seen that.
Yeah.
And I think it would be along the lines of Hogan and The Rock. And I think it would be a good way for them to, make an interesting WrestleMania. Not so much of who has the belt, but for pay-per-view buys and viewership, I think that's the way to go.
Yeah,
well, Vito, Rock's the biggest Hollywood movie star.
They were going to do that match a few years ago. That was apparently going to happen, but then The Rock got hurt, and that pretty much fell apart. But yeah, that's one of the big matches that WWE hasn't done that they could do at WrestleMania.
Yeah, and that's something big. And like you guys say something like we always talk about what they could do big, right? Now we talked a lot of good things here tonight with the Raw 25th anniversary, what a lot of different angles can go, and how we'd like to see things go. But if you're talking on the big scale with big things, now if you put this at the top like Rock and Brock, right? Yeah. Then you drop it down with Cena and Undertaker, 2 huge matches, right? Now if they bring Jericho back with somebody, with AJ Styles, because he just had that big match in Japan with that Omega kid. Omega and AJ Styles, the same work level. So now if you put in Jericho with AJ Styles, that's 3 huge main events.
Strowman and Roman, they've already worked well together.
That's right.
So we're booking WrestleMania 34.
Yeah.
Remember,
obviously, I picked Lesnar. Kane's in the match for a reason. Vito, you got it. I'd love to spear you right now and prove you wrong, but I can't. I mean, Lesnar's going to retain. He's going to WrestleMania. All right, the 2 Royal Rumble matches. Let's do the women's first. So 30 women. We're going to have some surprises. I think Lita will be in this match because she was not at Raw 25, and I think that's why they did that for the surprise element. Over the top rope. So that's going to be interesting, seeing some of these, especially Nia Jax. Who's winning the inaugural Women's Royal Rumble? Jexy, I'm going to start with you. And you can even give an honorable mention because I know this is going to be a tough one to pick.
It is so hard for me to pick. I really don't know, you guys. Like, I want to say Asuka. I would love to see Asuka, but it's not. I just don't see it. It's not going to happen for her. Nia Jax would be a big shoe-in to win, but I feel like she's going to get double teamed. They're going to take her out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Well, we'll get back to you then.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Before that, just pick. What's your heart say?
I mean, you don't have to pick it. We can, Vito and I can give our thoughts on, and then
all right, go
back
ahead,
to Jexy. Well, I went with a curveball. I did not go with Asuka because watching Raw this week, I felt like Asuka throwing out everybody made it too obvious. She's the only clear contender to win it. Now, in 1998, Steve Austin did the same thing and did win the Royal Rumble, so it could still happen, but I feel like WWE is going to throw a curveball and do something different. It's possible Ronda Rousey will win. She's actually the betting odds favorite to win, even though she has not been announced for the match. But I actually went with Becky Lynch as a swerve, as a curveball to win the Royal Rumble. So that's my pick. And by the way, Stephanie's doing commentary for this match. What would happen if she actually entered the Royal Rumble match? How would the internet react to that? That would be interesting to watch.
I like your pick of Becky Lynch there. Vito.
The obvious pick is Nia Jax. My sleeper pick for great booking is Carmella. To have the win for WrestleMania. She loses her match, but she cashes in her briefcase.
There you go. People are asking me, why is Carmella in the match? And I'm like, she gets another opportunity. She can be at WrestleMania, and then if she loses, she could still cash in Money in the Bank. So people were asking me that, and I gave them that answer.
Yeah. Carmella is my secret sleeper.
All right.
Nice. All right, I'm going to pick the obvious, and since no one wanted to do it, I'm going with Asuka.
Okay.
But if she doesn't win, my honorable mention is going to be Nikki Bella. I don't know why. I just see it. So, Jexy, did you finally come to a conclusion, even if it's just your heart of hearts picking? And no, you don't have to pick Natty.
Yeah. Thinking about it, Becky Lynch would make sense, especially after Charlotte came and talked the other night and said how friendship split up. And just because you're friends, doesn't mean that you can't still square up. It'd be pretty cool to see Becky and Charlotte.
Yeah. If Ronda Rousey's not going to be at WrestleMania, or maybe Rousey goes against somebody else. But, I have this sneaking suspicion about Becky Lynch winning it, so we'll see what happens.
So, Aaron, what are they doing with Charlotte and Alexa Bliss since they're the champions?
I don't think they're doing anything. I think they just threw together a random segment just to have
So do you think they'll be sitting out there ringside or something, like watching on?
Stephanie's already going to be there, so that would take too much spotlight away from Stephanie, right?
That's a good point. Yeah. All right.
Why not put them in a match?
Yeah, they should.
Because they already got so much other filler, I guess, that they don't want to.
Oh, yeah, it's 2 out of 3 falls, by the way, for the I don't know why they're doing this, for the Gable and Benjamin and Usos match. You want to talk about some quick falls. I guarantee you that match only goes less than 10 minutes.
Wouldn't shock me.
But, guys, did Charlotte and Alexa Bliss already wrestle?
Did they? I don't think they did.
I don't think so. And with Ric Flair coming out and doing the promo on the show, and with Alexa Bliss and her saying you're pretty, but I don't think you got the stuff.
That's a good point.
I think that's your match at the Rumble.
A pre-show? Nah, I mean they deserve more than that, but
they deserve it. They deserve a regular spot because they are champions. But I think champion versus champion, because there is that little bit of rivalry.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the match for them.
Well, you would think they would add something big because they had to get rid of the cruiserweight match.
Yeah, and they should have announced that. I mean, if they make that match happen, great, but promote it.
Yeah.
All right, the men's Royal Rumble match. Gosh, Aaron, I'm going to start with you. Who are you going?
So I had a lot of different scenarios about this, and I did talk about this, but my quick picks, I went with Roman Reigns as a safe first pick for the Royal Rumble. I hate to say it. I really don't want to say it. I'd like to see somebody else that's never won the Royal Rumble win it. My second pick was actually Dolph Ziggler, because we haven't seen Ziggler in a month, and that would be interesting. Dolph Ziggler finally getting his big moment and going on to WrestleMania to face AJ Styles in the third to last match on the show, mid-card, whatever, for the WWE title.
Jaxie?
Okay, now this is easier than the women's.
I think I know who you're going to say. No, not Pete Dunne, but...
Surprise entry?
Pete Dunne, he could win.
Well, because you're going with what WWE's probably going to, or might do, Pete Dunne's not there yet.
Yeah, my gut feeling, I have such a strong feeling Orton.
Ooh.
But I could also, Elias would be good.
Great picks. I mean, great picks. Vito.
I was going to say Randy Orton.
Interesting.
That's
Randy
Orton winning?
Just Randy Orton, just because he changed his look, guys. You got to look for the small things. They might not be that big to you, but it's the small things that change the persona of somebody's look, how they're carrying themselves. The RKO out of nowhere. He could be doing that all the way to WrestleMania, and he could be catching Shane, he could be catching AJ, he could be catching whoever, right? Because he's in a program with nobody, and since he's in a program with nobody and he has the match, he can go on Raw, he can go on SmackDown, he could dropping people like flies all over the place. Yeah. So that's why I think Randy Orton is the safe bet to give an opponent, not necessarily give him a championship, but to make him an opponent for whoever has the title at that time.
Yeah. Now, Aaron, so Elimination Chamber is a Raw pay-per-view, correct?
That is right.
And it just makes me think that you have to pick a SmackDown guy. And originally, I was going to say Shinsuke Nakamura. I really thought they were going to give the indie fans their AJ
keep in mind,
and
Shin match. This is what I talked about on the predictions video with the other guys. The Fastlane pay-per-view, they're advertising, and of course, card subject to change, they're advertising AJ Styles versus Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton versus Nakamura for the WWE title as the main event for that pay-per-view. That's why I don't see Orton winning unless that's false advertising and it's thrown out there to throw people off. I don't know.
Well, here's my pick, and I am going to put a T-shirt on the line. If this guy does not win the Royal Rumble, I will tweet this, and everybody knows my rules. You have to retweet and or like that tweet to qualify, and I will. If I'm wrong, if this guy does not win the Royal Rumble, I will select one of those people and give them a the shirt Vito's wearing. Not that exact one, but
Oh.
Roman Reigns. I have not done this since October. Roman Reigns is winning the Royal Rumble, and he's headlining WrestleMania for the 4th straight year. If he does not win the Royal Rumble, somebody's getting a Virtue's Rage t-shirt. That's all I'm going to say.
There you go.
I'm confident. I'm sticking to it. All right, main event time.
No, there's no adventure in your picks. You're so blasé.
The adventure, Roman's coming off of that steroid allegation, and I'm putting a t-shirt, a $20 t-shirt on the line. That's adventurous.
Oh, go clean your room. I'm telling you, you're wrong.
Spear, Superman punch, Vito. All right, anyway, this is what we have to talk about. This is what everyone waited for, and it's heartbreaking. And we don't know. We only know of accusations. Enzo Amore has been accused of raping a girl. So there's so much like I want to say. He was suspended. He lost his job on an accusation. Rich Swann is still employed by WWE. There's so much I can say right now, and I want everybody to bring in their little nuances of this situation. Aaron, I'm going to start with you. I know you've talked about it. You're updating us as you get news.
Right.
What are your general feelings on this? I know it's touchy. Rape and sexual misconduct is absolutely wrong. If Enzo is found guilty, I will be one of the first people to bury him because there's no excuse for that.
Right.
But I'm a due process guy. I've served on juries in rape cases.
Yeah.
And you're innocent until you're proven guilty. You are not guilty until you're proven innocent. Aaron, thoughts?
Well, whoever's guilty, whether it's Enzo for committing the act or this woman for making it up, somebody should be going to prison over this, because this is not something you should be joking around or messing around about. This is something that's very serious, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know who to believe. I think everyone's got an opinion about it. Everyone's saying Enzo did it. People are saying the woman is making it up. You know, there's all these different theories about it. What I've said is we just need to let it play out and see how the police handle this. Let them do their jobs. Let the legal process handle this, and we'll see what happens. I mean, there's so many different moving parts to this, and things are changing on a daily basis. New information's coming out. Who knows what's going on? I really don't know, and it's all just speculation at this point.
Yeah, and Aaron, you said speculation. Enzo suspended, should be, yes, that was the right call. Terminated, and some people say it's because he withheld information. And a company policy is when something like that's going on, they want to know. Okay, but the fact is, Rich Swann is still employed by WWE, and to me, that charge he got is almost as serious as Enzo's accusation. Mike Tyson is in the WWE Hall of Fame. He is a convicted rapist. Now, is Mike Tyson a better person? Did he learn from it? He's went years and years. He grew up. Hopefully, he'd never do something like that again. So I'm not throwing Mike Tyson under the bus. But the fact is, WWE has the bad practices and standards, and they don't treat everyone equally. So, Jexy, what are your thoughts on this? I think Enzo should still be employed, suspended until we know more. And because if this girl lied, to me, it's a big injustice, and Enzo's career is ruined. If he's guilty, go to prison. But what's your thoughts?
It is very touchy. And for pure speculation, as far as the WWE's tolerance policy, especially with all of the other accusations that have been going on in Hollywood, the first step for all of those people has been to terminate the employment of the accused. I think they have to follow along with that. Also, again, going back to their zero tolerance policy, where it does very specifically state that if you withhold information from the promoter, from them, that you can be terminated. For the sake of speculation, I went to college for sociology and behavioral sciences, and one thing that we studied was speech analysis and speech patterns. Watching the video that she released with TMZ, if I were to analyze that for the case, no emotion, just purely analyzing that, her speech pattern is very consistent with someone who is making something up as they're going along. Like, literally, he like, literally, like, literally. And then there was two things that her speech pattern immediately changed on, which would show that those were actually facts. And one being when she said he grabbed me, excuse me, and put my arms like this. And then at the very end, when she stated that the dress was all over the room. Not even to judge her character based off of her Twitter, which that will come into effect. I've read it. I'm sure the rest of you have as well. It comes across very shady. It comes across very scheming. My personal belief, I will put it out there, I believe he is not guilty. And I hope that for his sake that it does come out that way. But I think even if it does, his career is going to be ruined no matter what.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing. Like, you know, could he have slept with her and then she was thinking I was going to have a wrestler boyfriend and the next day, who are you? And then all of a sudden, rape. Again, we don't know. It's all speculation, but, you know, there's a lot of things coming out. Aaron will keep us updated. Vito, you have been, you know, experienced in the business and in situations like Enzo got himself into with being in the spotlight, you know, having girls come up to you on the streets because you're famous. Your take on this, because again, that's why we have you here. And by the way, Jexy, that was awesome.
Yes.
Great. That was, to me, I love that. Vito, now your take.
Okay. Well, as we're talking about this right now, and there's somebody on the panel wearing a shirt that has some issue or compatibility with what's going on. Jexy is wearing a China shirt. China accused Triple H of smacking her around and beating her up. Triple H was CEO of a company. Did he get suspended, fired, or put on leave of absence or suspended? No. There are other people who are with the WWE who have had domestic violence that never got suspended, never got in any trouble with the company. And I've said this out in public, I have had a case where, as everybody knows, I got arrested back in 2000, I think 8 or 9. And I was trying to go on a trip to go to England. And I was getting my stuff out of my girlfriend's house. And she was upset that I was leaving. So she threw a bottle at me, pulled out a machete. I got out of the house. I went to the security gate. I called the police. A police officer comes. I know the police officer. He goes inside. She admits what she did. Then she tells the police officer, oh, he pushed me. Just like that. Comes out. He says, Vito, I hate to do this, but I got to arrest you. I says, for what? He said, you're being arrested for domestic violence. I said, but I called you. I said, she tried to kill me. What the hell? Can't, you know, I got to take you in. It's going to be bad. And in Florida, that is a very serious crime. They take everybody in, right? So I get down there, and being that I was famous and I'm a celebrity, I'm going through the thing, and I'm friggin' hysterical. And I get to the thing, the jailhouse, and they're like, Vito, what the hell are you doing here? I told them what happened. They knew it was bullshit because I explained to them what happened. So I go to get arraigned. The judge, well, before I got there, bail bondsman comes to the thing and says, you need a bail. I said, no. I said, can you call my friend who's a police detective in New York? Here's the number. If I need a bail bonds, I said, you could have the job. I said, just make this phone call so this way I can get out of here. They made the phone call, and New York called Florida, and they asked what happened. They knew it was bullshit, but they had to arrest me. So I go in front of the judge, says, Mr. LaGrasso, and let me tell you, I shit my pants. Excuse me for cursing, but
Okay.
The people in front of me, okay, 9 months, 7 months, 6 months, 3 months, 4 months. I am profusely sweating. I'm like, oh God, I'm going to go to jail. I'm going to get, and I was in like population. I'm like, Mr. LaGrasso, yes, sir. Domestic violence. I'm reading your thing here. And he just went, you're released on your own recognizance. You know not to go near this. Yes, sir, I know this. Thank you very much. I couldn't wait to get out of there.
Yeah.
Later on, she admits that she made it up.
All right.
Now, this is something that has been, I'm still friends with this girl today. But just the indignity that I had to go through because of false accusations, mugshot, right? It's online. My family knew about it. It went all over the world as Enzo. So what do you do with it? Do you make a statement? Do you say anything? You keep your mouth shut. You clean up your business. You go to the lawyer comes in. It was taken care of in 3 days. That's bullshit. So Endo Amore is in the same situation, right? And just as you know, like everybody knows, you know, I'm married and everything. I still talk to this girl today. This girl actually told my wife that Vito never did nothing to me. He says, you know, I was mad. I said that because I wasn't going to go in. But I was like, okay, I forgive you. It messed up my life because, like, now it's like Enzo's life is messed up. His life is my life was messed up. I had 4 corrections jobs. One in Miami, one in Hillsborough County, 2 in the state of Pennsylvania. They were begging to hire me. And I said, why ain't I getting hired, Vito? You have this domestic violence. I said, but you see, it's on the record that it was bullshit. They said, we can't, you're eliminated because of that. Wow. So it kind of messed up my life as far as having employment, being a corrections officer, which is something I wanted to do. But it's a lesson learned. When you make up stories and you call the police, this is what happens, guys. Now, if this lady is making up these lies, she not only cost him a job, just a job, but his reputation, how people look at him on the street. You never know if it is going to be true. How about the next girl he dates? Will that girl call her up and say, I'm lucky because I have a good rapport with the girl? And the girl's mother loved me to death. And she says, how can you do this? Blah, blah, blah. And they took care of me, the family. But just after that, how does Enzo go on with his life after wrestling? We're not even talking about wrestling. Like, okay, next girlfriend you have. Wasn't he that Enzo guy who was raped that girl? I bet you was something. Oh, I bet you they paid hush money. I bet you this. I bet you that. I bet you the other thing. Yep. When you're a celebrity, you try to keep out of the spotlight and you try to keep out of things. When you go to public parties and you put yourself in that position where there's girls, there's drinks, there's a good time, you're feeling your oats, you're the champ, you're sitting there with the belt. I'm not saying he did any of those things, but that's just the place he was at. Who knows what the girl was thinking? And, you know, it's like anything else. With anybody on the panel here, we were talking before, you know, it's like if you don't have an understanding before you go forward with something, and this is just boyfriend, girlfriend, fiancés, husband, and wife, you have an understanding with your partner. You say, hey, listen, you know, this is what it is, and this is what we like to do, and this is what's going to happen. Are you cool with it? If the answer is yes, there's no miscommunication. If you go in there and somebody gets butthurt or somebody didn't like the way you ended it, like a guy being nasty to a girl, calling her a pig or a slut after she consented to sex, okay, I'm a pig or slut, I'm going to say you raped me. Just in case you guys know the Dallas Cowboys running back, Ezekiel Elliott, went through an NFL investigation where the investigator said he did nothing wrong. He does not deserve to be suspended. And what happened? He was suspended for nothing. Yeah. Just because it's just face value. WWE may be trying to take a hard line like the NFL with a zero tolerance, except when it comes to the concussion protocol and a concussion lawsuit. But they're trying to take this look as we're going to be like the NFL. We are this kind of people and we're like this. We're not going to have any tolerance. You're out. Baseball, same thing, right? Everybody's cracking down. But it seems like the NFL and now wrestling are trying to go head and head. But you can only, if you're going to do it for one, guys, you got to do it for everyone. The Usos with the DUI, and I'm not throwing shade. I'm just stating facts of what's out there. Roman Reigns with the drug charges. They got cleared. The Usos made a mistake. You forgive them. This girl who did this, Hey, if you're lying, lady, you ruin somebody's life. And why? Because you have a car payment, your daddy, and all this other stuff. You're messing with a human being. And when people make stuff up like this and go to the cops, it's terrible. I wish it on nobody. It's the worst experience.
Vito, did she go to the cops? Because why hasn't Enzo been arrested? Why is she going to TMZ? Because she wants a spotlight.
She wants a spotlight. But you know what? Just because she said I was raped, just because those words came out of her Now, are there sexual harassment cases in certain companies that we don't hear about today? Of course there are. Are there people who conducted themselves in sexual harassment in these places and still employed, but it's all hushed? Of course there are. But we don't hear about it. But because of the killer of the world, social media, this has killed many a reputation and many people's lives, many people's things. Now, there are other people out there. Okay, the ESPN people, the guy from who's the news guy who was making Matt Lauer, $21 million a year. You mean to tell me you couldn't go get yourself a side apartment and bring your chicks to this side apartment and keep things out of the office and go have a separate life, but you had to do it in the office? It's just like the Sandusky thing with Paterno and Penn State, right? Everybody was hush-hush, but everybody knew what was going on. And what happened? It turned into a big lawsuit, right? Yep. Then this guy with the Olympics, the guy who just got sentenced today to 162 years? Maro, right? Now, this guy was doing this to Olympic people, and he was a college. He did something with the Olympic and sports, right? Yep. And here he was doing these things to these women, and finally somebody spoke up. But for years it was covered up, and nobody said nothing. And that's what happens, guys. And then when you go and play, Bill Cosby is another one. Right, that died down pretty quickly. We don't hear nothing about Bill Cosby no more. Right? So
Vito, it's a trend. It's happening everywhere. Famous people are not safe. I mean, that's where we're at.
We're at in a society. You gotta watch what you do. Even like when you go out to eat, all right, and you see somebody, right? Okay, fan comes over to my table, and it happens all the time. Can I have your autograph? I get up from the table, I excuse myself, thank you for being a fan, I greatly appreciate it. Do you need me to sign anything? I'll sign it. If I'm in the grocery store, usually happens in the peanut butter aisle. Oh my God, I can't believe it's Big Vito. Oh my God, I can't believe it. God, right here. What are you doing here? I'm buying food for my family. I'm hungry. All right? What do? You take a picture, you're posing at the register. Thank you very much. You never be nasty to nobody. Some celebrities are nasty to people, and some people get a bad buzz, and then it winds up on TMZ, or this one flipped me off. This guy abused me, or whatever. Got to be careful, guys. Enzo Amore is innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
Until that time, he should still have his employment at the WWE, regardless of how many strikes he has. Suspend the guy. No pay. Keep him there. You can't fire him. Rick Swan is another one who had the same problem. He's still employed. There are other people still employed. Why are you picking this guy to make an example of? Why? Because he went against the grain. He doesn't play the game. He's not a yes guy. He's not what you think a wrestler should be, and the guy is over.
Yeah, and if he's doing drugs like cocaine and stuff, WWE has a wellness. I mean, they got to be testing people, right?
Yep. They are testing people.
And you got to figure if he's being obnoxious, they're testing him more than others because, companies will test the more suspicious ones, too, more often.
Now, this is just a lesson for everybody here. And I know maybe this panel will grow to be superstars and we could be like, Ron Burgundy and the crew one day. Maybe not. But for everybody here, watch your P's and Q's. Everybody out there in the NoDQ land. I mean, we joke around in the chat room. But you know what, guys? It's respectful. It's cool. Nobody accuses nobody. We're not dirty people. But when you start throwing shade like that and say the dirty word rape or anal or rectal or talk about a female in a not nice way or be rude or crude, that's when lines are crossed.
Right.
Everybody just act accordingly, guys, and everything will be good. Go ahead, my man.
You know, it's to be continued. I mean, we don't know at this point. So Aaron Rift will be getting the news,
Yes.
and as anything happens and we find out, it's going to be, and you know what? That's where we're in reality now. We care about these performers' real lives because they're out there. And to be honest with you, I hope everything ends up being okay for Enzo. But if he did wrong, then we're going to have to deal with it. But right now we don't know. So it will be to be continued. And Aaron Rift will keep us updated. So with that said, what another fantastic No DQ review. You know, these are going to end up being 2 hours at some point.
I know. We're getting closer and closer.
Or you're going to have to upload them in 2 sections. I mean, this is enjoyable. So let's get our info plugs out of the way, Jexy. I'll start with you.
Okay, thanks for putting up with me tonight. I don't really feel that good, so hopefully I didn't ramble on too much, but you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at JexyRocks. Go to ProWrestlingTees.com, search NoDQ, pick up a shirt, support what we do. Take a picture, send it to us, show us what's good.
Absolutely.
And if you know, we can start a GoFundMe campaign to get Jexy a cell phone holder, selfie stick.
He's working on it.
But then again, that might be your yoga pose, so you might be actually working out as you're doing these videos.
It is. I'm sure it is burning some calories. It's not like
Vito.
doing 1,000 squats like Big Vito, but it's still something.
Take it away, Vito.
Unbelievable, Jack. How about getting an Amazon wish list and get a computer? It's all right. I mean, you're part of the crew now. I mean, you know, you're still green, but it's all right. All right. We got a YouTube channel. We got some good videos. It's the Big Vito brand. You know, go subscribe. We got 10,000 views on there. It's all good. We got a Twitter account, the Big Vito brand. Guys, go on there and follow. You're going to follow some great people on there. We have some great stuff on there. Go to the No DQ chat room, which is a great chat room. Everybody's invited. We got 39,000 people in that thing.
Almost 40,000.
40,000 people. Everybody having a good time. Everybody's mom's welcome. We don't solicit against anybody. All the love is good, right? Then we have thebigvito.com, my website. We go there. We don't take donations for doing this. Guys, everybody knows I don't take money. I do this because I enjoy it. If you would like to show some love, I have a wish list on there from Amazon. If people send things, it's greatly appreciated. Okay, we have Getting Color with the Russo brand. Guys, it comes out on every Monday. It's a good thing. The Russo brand, Getting Color with Big Vito. Also, we have this great crew here that's been doing very, very well. And all the ratings every week are going up and up. And I think we're doing much, much better week after week. And we're getting a lot of followers. Guys, this panel is doing a great job. It's a team. There are no superstars here. We all work together, you know, and everybody gets along. We know our P's and Q's. So give us a look. Give us a like. Do what we got to do. And as far as the T-shirts, guys, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/thebigvito brand. Go over there. You got some shirts. And, of course, go to Collar and Elbow, Big Vito code, save 10%. And then, of course, support the No DQ room. Go get yourself a shirt there. You know what I mean? If, you know, one day I'll have my own Big Vito shirt, Vito No DQ, you know, the leader, the bomb. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, clean your rooms. Perfect opportunity. You and Aaron need to make a deal.
T-shirts.
You and Aaron need to.
And on the back, mom's area code 6969.
Nice. Aaron, your turn, man.
I have nothing else to really add to that other than at Aaron Rift on all social media, and stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. And, of course, go to BigVito.com.
Yep. And, of course, back to ProWrestlingTees.com, search NoDQ. You'll see, 18 shirts, Aaron?
Yes, and we should have more coming soon. Maybe get that Clean Your Room shirt and do 1,000 Hindu squats.
That's right.
That's awesome. You can follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue. I am going to be doing a video soon with Vito of Virtue's Rage. I've kind of taken a break from writing because I've been very, very busy with my career. But I do want to do a video with you, Vito, coming up soon. And we're going to talk about what happened to the magic of wrestling. And I used the picture of Macho Man and Elizabeth.
Right.
Because I think everybody knows where we're going to go with that. So Vito and I are going to do a podcast very soon.
Good.
I'll make sure it's up on the site. So with that said, No DQ Galaxy, we'll see you next time.